ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ, ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਜੀ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਸਲੋਕ ਡੰਡੌਤ ਬੰਧਨ ਅਨੇਕ ਬਾਰ ਸਰਬ ਕਲਾ ਸਮਰੱਥ ਡੋਲਣ ਤੇ ਰਾਖੋ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇ ਕਰ ਹੱਥ। ਤਿਲਕ ਜੰਝੂ ਰਾਖਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤਾਕਾ ਕੀਨੋ ਬਡੋ ਕਲੂ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਕਾ। ਸਾਧਨ ਹੇਤ ਇਤੀ ਜਿਨ ਕਰੀ ਸੀਸ ਦੀਆ ਪਰ ਸੀ ਨ ਉਚਰੀ। ਧਰਮ ਹੇਤ ਸਾਕਾ ਜਿਨ ਕੀਆ ਸੀਸ ਦੀਆ ਪਰ ਸਿਰ ਨ ਦੀਆ। ਨਾਟਕ ਛੇਟਕ ਕੀਏ ਕੋ ਕਾਜਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਲੋਗਨ ਕਹੈ ਆਵਤ ਲਾਜਾ। ਚੌਪਈ ਠੀਕਰ ਫੋਰ ਦਲੀਸ ਸਿਰ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਪੁਰ ਕੀਆ ਪਿਆਨ। ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਸੀ ਕਿਰਿਆ ਕਰਹੀ ਨ ਕਿਨਹੂ ਆਨ। ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਕੇ ਚਲਤ ਭਇਓ ਜਗਤ ਕੋ ਸੋਕ। ਹੈ ਸਭ ਜਗ ਭਇਓ ਜੈ 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 ਸੁਰਲੋਕ। ਕਹਾਂ ਬੁੱਧ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤੁਛ ਹਮਾਰੀ ਬਰਨ ਸਕੈ ਮਹਿਮਾ ਜੋ ਤਿਹਾਰੀ। ਹਮ ਨਾ ਸਕਤ ਕਰ ਸਿਫਤ ਤੁਮਾਰੀ ਆਪ ਲਿਹੋ ਤੁਮ ਕਥਾ ਸੁਧਾਰੀ। ਮੂਕ ਉਚਰੈ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰ ਖਟ ਪਿੰਗ ਗਿਰਨ ਚੜ ਜਾਏ। ਅੰਧ ਲਖੈ ਬਦਰੋ ਸੁਣੈ ਜੋ ਕਾਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਾਏ। ਬਾਣੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੈ ਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਾਣੀ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਸਾਰੇ। ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਕਹੈ ਸੇਵਕ ਜਨ ਮਾਨੈ ਪ੍ਰਤੱਖ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਿਸਤਾਰੇ। ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਕਹੈ ਸੇਵਕ ਜਨ ਮਾਨੈ ਪ੍ਰਤੱਖ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਿਸਤਾਰੇ।
ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ। ਰਾਗ ਆਸਾ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਨਾਵਾ। ਬਿਰਥਾ ਕਹੋ ਕਹੁਨ ਦੁਖ ਪਾਵਤ ਬਿਰਥਾ ਕਹੋ ਕੌਣ ਸਿਓ ਮਨ ਕੀ। ਲੋਭ ਗ੍ਰਸਿਓ ਦਸਹੂ ਦਿਸ ਧਾਵਤ ਆਸਾ ਲਗਿਓ ਧਨ ਕੀ। ਬਿਰਥਾ ਕਹੋ ਕੌਣ ਸਿਓ ਮਨ ਕੀ। ਲੋਭ ਗ੍ਰਸਿਓ ਦਸਹੂ ਦਿਸ ਧਾਵਤ ਆਸਾ ਲਗਿਓ ਧਨ ਕੀ। ਰਹਾਉ ਸੁਖ ਕੈ ਹੇਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੁਖ ਪਾਵਤ ਸੇਵ ਕਰਤ ਤਨ ਜਨ ਕੀ। ਦੁਆਰ ਹੈ ਦੁਆਰ ਸੁਵਨ ਜੋ ਡੋਲਤ ਨਹਿ ਸੁਧ ਰਾਮ ਭਜਨ ਕੀ। ਮਾਨਸ ਜਨਮ ਅਕਾਰਥ ਖੋਵਤ ਲਾਜ ਨ ਲੋਭ सन की नानक हर जस क्यों नहीं गावत नानक हर जस क्यों नहीं गावत कमत बिना सैतन की बिरथा कहो कौन स्यो मन की।
ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਸਾਜੀ ਨਿਵਾਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀਓ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਆਪ ਸਭਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਭਾਗ ਹਨ ਜੋ ਸਤਿਗੁਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਸਫਲਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। We are very blessed to be sitting in the huzuri in the presence of ਧੰਨ Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Sitting in front of the Sangat is a very difficult thing to do, especially when you've practiced or you try to recite a Shabad and you think you might have earned the right to sit in front of the Sangat, but actually Maharaj brings you down and makes you understand in humility that sometimes that even the most padhya likhya, even the most educated individual can be brought down in the huzuri of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. But when we recite Gurbani, there's pauses, there's a reason why. You have like GCSE Punjabi, don't you? But actually GCSE Punjabi doesn't really teach you anything. It just teaches you the basics. When you want to make a relation with the Guru, you have to learn Santhya. You have to do it. It's imperative. It's more important than anything else for a Gursikh to do. And the reason why I'm going to say this and lay this on us, Harsukh Singh here recited 2 panktiyan and he made mistakes on them. And we're Pullanhar. Every single individual is a Pullanhar. The people who we learned from happened to ask him. His name is Bhai Gurdwara Singh Madhuji, and whilst reciting bani to him, I made a mistake in reciting the bani, and I felt so bad about it that I said to the Ustad straight away, "Mainu maaf kar deo, I'm not really capable of reading this Gurbani. I don't really have the quality or gun." And at that time, his response was, "There is no one in this world who can recite Gurbani proficiently." That's what his words were. Maybe he did it so that he kind of kept my kind of love and respect for reading Gurbani more. But the way I understand it is that even if you are learned and you've done Santhya and you've clocked it, you know every single pause, you know every single pronunciation, you are open to the elements. And so you are open to make mistakes. You are going to make mistakes. We are sada pullanhar. What is Santhya? Bibi benti a, je tusi ਇੱਥੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਫਿਰ ਜਮਾ ਨੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ। ਜਮਾ ਦੀ ਚੋਟ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਫਿਰ। ਇਹ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ। ਬੇਨਤੀ ਆ, ਜੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਕਰ ਲਓ। 1 ਘੰਟਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮਸੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਜਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਜਸ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਨਾਲ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉੱਧਰੋਂ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਆਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਆ, ਫਿਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸੰਗਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰੋ, ਬਾਹਰ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਕਰੋ। ਬੇਨਤੀ ਆ ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਚਰਨਾਂ 'ਚ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਆ ਕਿ what is Santhya? Just so you understand what Santhya is and how important it is in our lives. Santhya is the correct pronunciation of Gurbani, and it was taught by the Gurus to the Sikhs in kind of like a format that has been carried down through the ages. So it was actually Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, what we say created the Damdami Taksal. They recited Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj off by heart, the whole Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj off by heart at Sri Damdama Sahib. And at that time, 48 Singhs heard Guru Gobind Singh Ji not only recite the Bani, by Mani Singh Ji of great Gursikh, esteemed Shaheed Singh, whose photos we see in Guru Cars. They wrote Gurbani with the pens. The person who supplied the pages and the paper save and the ink was Baba Deep Singh Ji, whose photos we also see in Guru Cars. They fought with their head in their hands. And then there were other Singhs who also heard. So Guruji would write the Gurbani in the morning, Bhai Mani Singh Ji would write with the words, Maharaj would recite it, and then the meanings of the Gurbani with all the pauses and the correct pronunciation of it was explained to those Singhs at Damdama Sahib. When it all finished, it took nearly 9 months, 9 days, 9 hours, the exact timing was perfect, considered to be perfect. So 9 hours, 9 kadiyan, and so forth. And in those 9 months, those Gursikhs who heard the Gurbani from Guru Granth Sahib Ji and the teachings contained in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, those Gursikhs became what we call the highest spiritual Sikhs. Because they had the meanings from Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, because they've had it from the Maharaj's mouth themselves, they became great Gursikhs. We say they became Badeh Mukt. Badeh means body, Be means without body, so out of body. Badeh Mukt, they were liberated. So their souls became so strong that they had no experience of pain, no experience of pleasure, slander, hate, and all those kind of things didn't affect them. Praise didn't affect them. So they became what we call Brahmagani Sikhs. And they had the choice, by just listening to the Katha of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and the meanings and the correct pronunciations and the way to recite the Akkar, they merged into Vaheguru while still living. So they even had the choice to leave their bodies whenever they wanted to. They were in control of death and everything else. That's the spiritual levels they were given. Out of those Gursikhs, there's 48 Gursikhs went to different places across India, different countries. There's some did Prachar, some became what we call Diwane. Diwane means they became imbued in total love with Vaheguru. Nothing else mattered. They just focused on Akal Pur Vaheguru. Some became Mastane. Mastane means that because they had no more sensory aspect to their sarir, their actual body, they were out of their bodies as such. They were no longer interested in the world as such, so they removed them, they detached themselves. They became free in their minds, just focused on Akal Pur Vaheguru. And some became Parwane. Parwane means those people that they went from city to city doing Prachar, spreading the word of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj, Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, the teachings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. They were given the duty of Prachar. The only two Gursikhs remaining were Baba Deep Singh Ji, Bhai Mani Singh Ji, who did most of Seva at that time of whilst Maharaj was reciting the Gurbani and preparing this version of Guru Granth Sahib Ji that we have now, because this is the carbon copy of that Swaroop, which we call Damdami bead. Even when you do Prakash of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, when you open Maharaj, on the first angs you see a stamp on there which says Damdami bead. This is a copy, a latha of the Damdami bead. So those two Gursikhs, Baba Deep Singh Ji and Bhai Mani Singh Ji, said, Maharaj, all these Gursikhs have got Badeh Mukt, what Sada ki hoga, what's ours? What's our seva left? What do we do? And Maharaj turned to Bhai Mani Singh Ji at that time and said, you're going to be blessed more seva because you've done everything with your hands, like you've written the Gurbani with the hands. That's a massive kirpa, massive blessing. For that reason, you're going to become an example for people to follow. And that example is that you are going to band katwana. You're going to be chopped into 72 pieces. Your body will be. But the ras of Gurbani, the taste and the bliss and the anand of spirituality, of Brahm Gyan, will not be affected. You'll become a Mahan Shaheed of the Panth. And people will look to you and your teachings as this person is a true living example of a Guru Sikh. So Bhai Mani Singh Ji after that became one of the Granthi Singhs at Sri Darbar Sahib. They used to do Katha themselves at Harmandir Sahib after that. And they also guided so many other Guru Sikhs to take Amrit, including people like Nawab Kapoor Singh Ji. They took Amrit. The great Sikh leaders listened to the Katha by Mani Singh Ji and became great. He himself, at Diwali time, as we know, they told the Khalsa not to accumulate at Darbar Sahib because the Mughals had bad intentions and really speeding up the task, because All of that has come out from this mistake of reciting Gurbani incorrectly. So it's important to know this and understand this. And what happened is, when Bhai Mani Singh Ji sent a message to the Guru Khalsa that don't accumulate here because the Mughals have got bad intentions, the Mughals then arrested Bhai Mani Singh Ji and unhone shaheed karwaya. Bhai Mani Singh Ji at that time, when they were given the fatwa, when they were given the decision by the Mughals, give up your faith and so forth, all the traditional things, they were given so much, like, you know, you become a great Muslim and people will follow you, we'll give you loads of our princesses will marry you and so forth, and all these kind of things, all the kind of bribes that they could have think of. And at that time, Bhai Mani Singh Ji said, so I'm a Sikh of the Guru and I'm beyond all those things that you want to give. I have no lalach and nothing, no greed for anything. All I want to do is to go right by my Guru. So you sharpen your tools to cut me up, whatever you want to do, you do that. I'm going to sharpen myself. And as I said at that time, that Bhai Mani Singh Ji, when they were about to be chopped from piece to piece, the hukum, the fatwa that was given by the Mughals was, band katwao. Band means joints. And the executioner at that time, he got his machete sharpened and he placed it on Bhai Mani Singh Ji's gut, like on their wrist. And Bhai Mani Singh Ji was just about to start reciting Gurbani and he said, stop, what are you doing? At that moment, they all thought they're perhaps giving in, or they're perhaps giving in to, they're scared of death or whatever it was. And Bhai Mani Singh Ji said, no, he said, your fatwa is saying that you should be chopped from piece to piece, from joint to joint. But you started at my wrist, my joints begin at my fingers here. When they heard that, they couldn't believe the spirit of such Shaheed Singhs at that time. And he said that Bhai Mani Singh Ji at that time recited Sri Japji Sahib da Path. They started Japji Sahib da Path aloud. And as they were reciting Japji Sahib da Path, they started chopping Bhai Mani Singh Ji's body into 72 pieces. When the whole of the body was cut into 72 pieces in a basket, the body parts were there, Japji Sahib was still continuing from the body parts. This is the spirituality of Gursikhs. This is the spirituality of Guru Khalsa Panth that is ordained to us by Guru Gobind Singh Ji. If we want that blessing, this is the blessings you can get from following Guruji's teachings. But we look upon those Shaheed Singhs and their lives as examples for us to follow. Then Baba Deep Singh Ji had been given a boon that tusi ta apne, your bhaਵੇਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਿਰ ਅਲੱਗ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ, if your head is to be decapitated from your body, you won't give up your ras, your anand, your love for the Guru in any way, shape or form. We know Baba Deep Singh Ji, when they found out about the Beadbi of Sri Harmandir Sahib, the Golden Temple, what did they do? They went to stop the Mughals in a dual combat to the Mughal. They were decapitated, their head was decapitated a few kilometers outside of Darbar Sahib. And when a Gursikh went up to the body, the head decapitated on the side, Baba Deep Singh Ji's khanda on the other hand, the Gursikh said, Baba, you did ardas that you're not going to leave this body until you free the Harmandir Sahib from oppression. And at that time, that's all he needed to say. Baba Deep Singh Ji's hand went underneath the head. They got up, headless, with the khanda in the other hand, and they swung the khanda all the way to Sri Darbar Sahib. And when we go to Darbar Sahib today, in the Parakrama, you see a photo of Baba Deep Singh Ji on the side. That's where Baba Deep Singh Ji placed the head on the Parakrama of Sri Darbar Sahib after getting rid of all the Mughals from Sri Darbar Sahib. That was the blessing they got for just preparing, not just, but preparing the ink and the angs, the pages of that first Sarup of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So, Sina Basina from time, Sina Basina means from in bodies from time. So, as the oral tradition continued, the teachings of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj of how to recite Gurbani properly and correctly have been given over time to individuals. And those teachers or those ustads pass it on in the Guru Khalsa tradition, and that is called Santhya. You cannot be considered a Gursikh, I would take it to that point, if you've never had Santhya in your life. You must strive to make that an aim in your life. We cannot call ourselves Gursikh if we've never had Santhya of Gurbani in our life. It is so imperative and important. And actually, there's so many traditions that were attached to that have been forgotten. If you go back about 100 years in our Gursikhi, in our culture, in our Sikh culture, not Punjabi culture, Sikh culture is totally different, two different things. But in the Sikh culture, when a family had a child or a young person who they wanted to go through the Khalsa tradition, they would teach him the Uda Eda. They would take him to Gurdwara Sahib and they would teach him the Uda Eda through learned Gursikhs, people who had learned Gurmukhi of other ustads. Actually, the Granthi Singhs in the old days were all trained people. Nowadays, it's not so much, you don't see them in that kind of fashion anymore. But in the past, they used to be trained Gursikhs who knew the Akhar and they learnt from people, from teachers who could go all the way back to Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj. They could trace their stems back. And what happened, they would do a rasam called Guru Kar Nu Chadana. And what they would do is they would teach the Akhar would get learnt through a Granthi Singh. The child would come and learn Uda Eda from the Granthi Singh. And then the Granthi Singh's duty was to get him through the Nitnem. So the Panj Baniya, Sat Baniya Nitnem, the first Nitnem Gotka, you do Santhya of that. Once you've done Santhya of that, then you would do Panj Granthi. After Panj Granthi, then you would do Bhagta Bani. Then you would do Baivara, these three Pothiyan of Gurbani. So you have Nitnem, Panj Granthi, which is a lot more Baniya, contained from a selection of Gurbani compositions from Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. And then Baivara, Bhagta Bani. And then, before you went to recite the Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj's Swarup from Akhar, like from Guru Maharaj's Hazuri, you had to go through a ceremony. And the ceremony was, the parents of the child would be called to the Guru's car. They would be dressed in new clothes. All the relatives would be brought and called to the sanctuary of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, and they would declare, they would do Tegh, they would make Tegh, and they would declare that Aaj to baad e Guru Ghar nu chadana aya. And that Gursikh, that child, would sit in the Hazuri of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and then recite Sri Japji Sahib da Paath in front of all the Sangat, and then all the Sangat at the end would give him pyar and love. Has you ever seen anything happening like that in our Gurdwara today, in that way? It's disappeared. But it's our farj and our duty to bring back that love and that affection in our families so that we can reignite those traditional roots of Gurbani. And in the last few years, even in this place, like we have Shahidi Bunga, Leicester, they're teaching the old ways of learning Gurbani, because it's important that we learn the way the Guru wanted us to learn. So I will touch on these kind of concepts as we're going through today's Shabad as well, because it's important that if you're also learning Gurbani, then chances are you have to memorize the Bani as well. And Gursikhs, you should do that as a leisurely activity. Ki main bad to bad Bani kant karan, which means I'll memorize Gurbani off by heart. And there was a saying that Bani Gant, Paise Gant. So reciting Gurbani of Bahar is like accumulating true wealth. Paise Gant. Gant means in the purse, in the wallet, you got money. You can expend that money wherever you want. And if you've got a Japji Sahib of Bahar, you could be at work sitting there and doing Japji Sahib in your mind whilst doing your work. You could be in your break time and do 2 Japji Sahibs. You could be in your lunch time and do 5 Japji Sahibs. The point is that you will develop a more closer path to the Guru's instruction and the Guru's way if we recite Gurbani correctly, and then after reciting it correctly, we memorize it in our minds. So, in this Hukamnama today, Tan Satguru Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj's Bani, we're going through all the Bani of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji every Sunday and trying to learn, get the teachings from what Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj want from us today. Last week we finished off the first 9 Shabds in Gauri Rag, and this is now a new Rag in ASA Rag. So a Rag is basically a composition of music. Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is so unique that each chapter has got a Rag constituted with it. So is the title of each chapter is the title of a new Rag, a composition of how to recite the Rag sung in certain notes or compositions. So in Asa Rag is usually sung very early in the morning. I think the prayer is from 3 to 6 a.m. And ASA itself means hope or desire. So the true hope and the true desire that people should have in life is one of remembering Vaheguru. That's the best and highest and the final ASA and desire. But anything else before that desire is not considered to be important. It's there. We might have materialistic wants and things that we need for our life, but they're not as high as the desire for God itself. So, in this Hukamnama, a Gursikh who was walking on the path of Gursikhi, he came to Baba Bagala at the time when the 9 Shabds at Gauri Rag had been recited by Maharaj to the Sangat. This Gursikh was a soul searcher. He was what we call a Jagyasu. Jagyasus are people whose, if you separate the word Jag, Asu. Asu means Asa, means hope. So the person who's got a desire in them that's opened up, that desire is to meet Vaheguru or to remember God. Unu Jagyasu kaida hai. But to be a true Jagyasu, they are very few and far between. Because a true Jagyasu will eliminate every single other desire in this world apart from just remembering Vaheguru. And they will have great reflective ability as well. They will know how to reflect within themselves. This Jagyasu Gursikh was basically fed up. He was fed up because he was getting pulled from his path of just remembering Vaheguru all the time, and maybe getting distracted in certain ways. And he did a benti, he asked Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj to put him back on the path. And Maharaj gave this instruction to him to get him back on track again. And we've got to imagine that we are that Gursikh at that time, and that Jagyasu within us, that fight between true yearning for God and that kind of false yearning which is lumbered with every single else that was materialistic. That's in one big bundle, isn't it? But then you have just true Jagyasa, true search for Vaheguru. So he puts his thoughts before Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, and Maharaj just answers it right at the end with just one instruction, important instruction. So let's focus our minds and take in the instructions of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, 9th Guru. What are they teaching us today as Gursikhs? And what do we need to take away to forge our path in Gursikhi from this point onwards?
Satnam Shri Vaheguru Sahib Ji, Ek Oankar Satgur Prasad.
One Akal Purkh Vaheguru, there's one God, Akal Purkh Vaheguru, Ek Oankar, He's the creator, He's a sustainer, and He's the destroyer of life. He does that with His energy, His Kar. That energy of that Jyot is in every single individual and every single piece of matter. Sometimes it's potential, like it's just sitting there still, that energy. Sometimes it's moving that energy, like it does within all of us. It changes state whenever it wants, but that fact is that energy is in every single aspect of this universe. Sat means Sada Rain Wala. It's like it's not going to become Nash. So that energy is going to still be here. So Vaheguru is still going to be here when we've left this world. Gur means that is Chetan Swarup. It's like Chetan Swarup means that it's always alive and always awake. So we might be considered to be going to sleep, but Akal Purkh Vaheguru is there watching and bears witness to everything we are doing. And Prasad. Prasad means they are the form of bliss as well. So if anyone ever asked you what is the description of God according to Sikhi, in the Sikh faith, you would describe God in this way. They are Sat Chit Anand, Sat Gur Prasad. They are the image of ever truth, the everlasting, the true truth. And then Chit, they are ever conscious, and Prasad, which means they are ever blissful. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj blesses in Rag Asa with this Shabad. So this Gursikh, he turns to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj and he says, Birtha Kaho. He goes, Maharaj, you know everything that's going on inside me, because that's what the quality of the Guru is. They know every person sitting in this darbar, exactly what is going on in their mind at this moment, at all times. When you've gone out this Gurdwara, they still know. When you come into the Gurdwara, they know. They know at every single time. They know what's going on within you, even if you don't believe in Vaheguru. They know that you still don't believe in Vaheguru. You are cynical. They know every single aspect of our minds. And Maharaj says, Birtha kaho kaun se man ki. And this Gursikh, who is searching with Vaheguru, who wants that connection with Vaheguru, he's saying, okay, Maharaj, who can I speak to? You know everything anyway. Thonu sara kuch pataya. You are antarjami. Who can I go to? I can't go to anyone else. I have no one else to go to. Kaun syo man ki. What thoughts can I place in front of you? My mind is all over the place. So look, this is a Jagyasu person who's wanting to meet with Vaheguru, and he's acknowledging that at his current state of affairs, he's presenting the present, isn't he? It's all over the place. And then he goes and describes what those things are. Hanji.
Lobha grasyo dasu desatavat asa lagyo tanki.
Lobha grasyo dasu destavat. So he's stuck with greed. He goes, my mind is feeling greedy. I should be thinking about God and remembering Vaheguru and doing my Nitnem on time, doing my Simran on time, going to Gurdwara every day. But I get challenged. And the challenge comes from not from one thing, but many other things. But one thing in particular, he says, is lobh, greed. I get pulled away. So you could add it to occupation, couldn't you? ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੰਮਕਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਕੰਮਕਾਰ ਕਰਦਿਆਂ ਹੋਇਆਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਜ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਰਹਿਣ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਮੈਂ ਸੰਗਤ ਜਾਣ ਨੂੰ ਰਹਿਣ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਆ, I'll just focused on going to, I'll just do it afterwards or some other time, because that's focused on maya, isn't it? Money and accumulation of it. So Maharaj says, Grob grasyo dasu distavat. I'm grabbed by greed, and the greed is becoming my kind of distraction, Maharaj. And I don't want it to, because of that greed, instead of coming to a Guru Kar, remembering Vaheguru, instead of sitting down to do Japji Sahib, instead of doing my Nitnem on time, instead of doing Reras in the evening, instead of doing Kirtan Soila in the evening, what am I doing? I'm confused, like my head doesn't want to stand still. Dashu distavat. Dashu means dasa direction which bhajadaya. So my mind is running around in all directions, 10 different directions. It doesn't stand still. I can't get any peace. Dasu distavat. And then asa lagyo tanki. And my hope, my desire should have been you, but my hope is just accumulation of wealth, paisa, career, and those kind of things. I'm putting God after that. Okay, those things are important because we have to do kirtan, do work hard, right? We have to do those things. But your effort in work will give you your rewards. Your effort will work. It will give you what you need. But we should place Vaheguru before those needs. So if we're going to work and we're not doing bhajan, we're not doing our Panj Baniya before. If we're going to school and we're not doing Japji Sahib at least, or Jab Sahib, Panj Baniya, we're not doing any of those. We're going to college, we're not reading our Nitnem before, or it's just a rush job, then something's not right, is it? Something needs to give. Something needs to be placed. You need to reflect and think, what do I need to do to put Vaheguru first before everything? That's what we've got to think. So, ethe mara kende ne ke asa lagyo tan ki. But I'm just giving up, I've given up. My mind is attached to wealth instead. So Maharaj says, Rahao, pause and reflect. So that's a central theme of this Shabad. Maharaj is trying to say, reflect on where your mind is at and what you need to do, and prioritize Vaheguru first before any of these other actions or distractions. You know, like if you're looking for a job, right? जब आप काम लाभते हैं, आप किन्ने बंदे नु phone करके पूछते हैं, भाई job ते ला दे मैनू काम ते ला दे या फलाना ते मैं oh, we go to so many different pieces of advice to perfect our CV. We do it, I do it as well. I'm just trying to go through what I've done so we can place it out there. And he says, Seva karta jan janaki. I go to different individuals and ask them different things to get myself forward, to get myself on that path of earning more wealth. That's what I'm doing, this Gursikh is saying. And he says, Sukh ke het bahut dukh pavat. But I don't realize that I'm doing all these little attempts to put materialistic wealth first. I don't see the dukh that's coming after that. I don't see the fact that my time to go Sangat might get affected. My time to sit with Maharaj might get affected. Something might be taken away. You know, like in this day and age, before it probably wouldn't have mattered about 5 or 6 years ago, but in this cost of living time period at the moment, every little penny counts, doesn't it? Is that Bamba we grab a car, we bought the car, but then we think, oh flip, the insurance is going to be, then the cost of fuel, then we start thinking about all the maintenance aspect. We don't see those kind of other expenses, do we? Ultimately, that is like a small dukh, isn't it? Ultimately, when you look at it, when it comes down to the budgeting, at some point, it's going to cause some sort of issue later on in the future, even if it's on a balance sheet. So for those things, Maharaj says, Ke sukh kahe to bahut dukh pavat. For the sake of comforts, I go through many pains, this Gursikh is saying. Sev karta jan jan ki, and I serve people, serve in the sense, I give them my time. I serve them with my time, try to kind of butter them up so that I can move forward, so that I can get some more wealth.
द्वार है द्वार स्वान जो डोलत नह सुध राम भजन की
Maharaj, minu thwada ta cheta hi nahi rehanda. I don't even remember you, Vaheguru. I don't even think of you. And my condition, this person is humble as well. You know what he says, how he's describing himself? He says, Dwar hai dwar swan se jo dolat. I'm like a dog, Maharaj. This is what this Gursikh is saying. So this Gursikh is saying, I'm like a dog. I go, what does a dog do? It goes from, if you ever take a dog for a walk, they'll sniff at every door. They'll sniff at every corner. They go from door to door, wondering what could be behind that. In India especially, the dogs are a bit more wild, right? They'll come to your door for prasada or pani or food. They'll go from door to door because all they want is the comfort of khana to fill their peट, to fill their belly. And this Gursikh is saying, Dwar hai dwar swan jo dolat. I'm wandering, I'm wavering from door to door, just like a dog does. Neh sudha ram bhajan ki. I don't sit in one place and remember Vaheguru, which could just give me everything. Hanji.
मानस जन्म अकारत कोवत लाजन लोक हसन की
I'm wasting my human birth given to me, Maharaj, and Lajna Lok Hasan ki, and all the actual people who have merged with Vaheguru, जिन्होंने वाहिगुरु ने पा लिया already, those individuals who already merged with God, they look at me and they're laughing. They're looking at me saying, look at this guy, he's wandering around. Although they won't be, because they'll be compassionate souls, yeah? But this is his perception, isn't it? All the people who are walking on the path of Gursikh, who are remembering Vaheguru, all those people who remember God with every single breath in their bodies, they are turning around and looking at me and laughing at me. When I die, when I go up there, my soul, these saintly figures will look at me and laugh at me saying, Ina sara janam apna gwala. He wasted his whole life. He wasted his whole life in just greed and accumulation of false wealth. The true wealth of remembering Akal Pur Vaheguru God with every single breath, that's been forgotten. So Maharaj says, this Gursikh is saying that this is what my state is. People are laughing at me. I'm not even remembering God in any way, shape or form.
नानक हर जस कह क्यों नहीं गावत कुमत बिना सैतन की.
See, Nanak har jas kyun nahi gawat? Then Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj then replies back with the jawab. So they heard all his sayings and all his replies, and they say very clearly, Nanak har jas kyun nahi gawat? They gave a response, but they said it in a different response, possibly not just seeing the quality of that Gursikh in front of him, but also maybe acknowledging or giving him a blessing. Because you know, when we ask Maharaj, we've got a problem, they don't just give you the thing, they also give you the ability to do it in a different way, or remembering God in a different way. What Maharaj replied back, why don't you remember God, but why don't you do kirtan? Why don't you sing his praises? Just let that settle and think. You can recite God's name by saying Vaheguru. But if you said it with love and sang it, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, it makes a difference, doesn't it? If you sat and gave like instruction to someone, like a child or something like that, and you gave that instruction with like maybe anger on your lips, or like frustration on your lips, that child probably won't take it in compared to when you do it with love and a bit of affection. Similarly, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji says to this Gursikh who's struggling with his mind and struggling to realign himself on his purpose with finding Vaheguru and God, and Maharaj says to him, from this point onwards, when you praise Vaheguru, sing the praises. So the instruction that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj are giving us in this first Shabad today is from this point onwards in our lives, when we're struggling with finding our purpose and realigning our goal with Vaheguru, at that point, listen to Kirtan or sing along with Kirtan, because that is your way out. That is what's going to bring you back on the path. If we go one step further, learn Kirtan. And you can learn Kirtan at any time. And this is where I'm going to bring it back to the Santhya thing again. There was a great Gursikh, you can read on it, Google it, Baba Sham Singh Ji. Baba Sham Singh used to wear glasses. He used to do play a string instrument called a saranda. And he did Kirtan at Darbar Sahib for nearly 60 to 70 years in his life. He lived to about 120 years old. When he was young, he was an orphan. And he ended up in the sanctuary of a saint called Baba Ram Singh. Baba Ram Singh Ji educated him in the instructions of Gursikhi. And you know, I was telling you about that thing where the kids used to be sat in the company of Guru Granth Sahib Ji and they would be offered to Maharaj. That's what happened to Baba Sham Singh. That Mahapurush sat him in the company of Guru Granth Sahib Ji after teaching him all the akkar and the words and stuff, how to recite Gurbani properly, and then sat him in front of the Sangat and said, you recite Japji Sahib now. They recited Japji Sahib and all the Sangat gave him pyar and love. From that point, he became dedicated to the Guru's house. To do Kirtan for nearly 60 to 70, 80 years of your life at Sri Darbar Sahib. You know what was amazing about him? This is about how we're going to learn, how we say about learning Gurbani. He had so many shabds off by heart, like memorized, over like thousands of shabd memorized in his mind. And his daily actions were that after doing his Nitnem, he would come into the sanctuary of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, and you know how we do Prakash of Maharaj and we read the first Shabd, we take a Hukamnama. That Hukamnama or that Shabd, from that point onwards, he'd memorize it. So he would spend time straight away in that day just memorizing that Shabd. By the time, obviously, he became a Ragi singer at Sri Darbar Sahib, and he did it in Nishkam. He wasn't paid to do it. He became a very, very spiritual Gursikh, of a very high spiritual level. And he had thousands and thousands of shabd off by heart. So when you're bringing Gurbani into our lives, the first step is learn it, learn to pronounce it properly. After you learn to pronounce it properly from a learned individual, then you memorize that Gurbani. And when you memorize it, it becomes a part of your life. You keep on going, you keep on going. So memorizing Gurbani is important in our lives, and learning it Shuddh is just as important. Shuddh means learning it correctly is just as important. There's Santhya that takes place in this Gurdwara by Satveer Singh, who's learned from a very, very young age. He's about 24, 25 years old now, and he teaches Sangat at this Gurdwara. So your kids, your children, yourselves, come to those classes. There'll be posters outside you can see, because that's your next step. Until you don't do that, you're not walking on the path of Gursikhi. I'm not being bad, but we're not going to be walking on the path of Sikhi. And we can't really call ourselves Sikh. In other places in Gurbani, he actually says that if a person doesn't know Japji Sahib off by heart, you can't consider yourself to be a Gursikh. So that should be our target. Everyone should have Japji Sahib off by heart. That's our key, that's important. And so in the next Shabd, what does Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj advises further?
Ek oankar Satgur Prasad Rag Devghandari Mahalla Nava.
One Akal Purkh Vaheguru, who is immortal, everlasting, ever eternal, who are ever conscious and the form of bliss always. Rag Devghandari, in Devghandari Rag, Mahalla Nava, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj was approached at Baba Bakala by a group of Gursikhs this time. And those Gursikhs, when they came, this is the beauty of it. Have Gursikhs ever come together and asked Maharaj a question together? Have you ever done that in our lives? Have we ever done that? Aapa kade puchya aan ke kathiyan ne ja ke Maharaj ko benti karni hai, ardas karni hai. We might do it for like our celebration, you know, like for birthdays, holidays and whatever, you know, like कि महाराज job दे दो, बख्श दो, birthday da khand path rakhna, stuff like that. Look at what these Gursikhs did. They came with, they must have obviously talked about it. They came to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj and they asked Maharaj a question and they said, Maharaj, our minds are all over the place. Look at the beauty of these two Shabads. They're very similar. Maharaj, our state of our mind, how do we overcome our mind? How do we overcome the obstacles in our mind? Please can you do kirpa? Please can you bless us? Please can you give us a teaching? So this mind, naik na kahyo kare, it doesn't want us to remember Vaheguru always. It doesn't want us, it will throw up anomalies. This is the state of the mind. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj instructs
Sikh sikhaye rahyo apni si dormat te na tara.
This is important. Sikh sikhaye rahyo apni si. You know, when we are stuck with something, what's our first port of call? Our first port of call is Google. Our first port of call is a video on YouTube, isn't it? But what should be our first port of call? Every single day at Gurukar, there's a hukamnama that's written on the board, isn't it? Who's that hukamnama for? Every single day at nearly 4:30 a.m. at Sri Darbar Sahib, there's a hukamnama that's taken for the whole world, an instruction from our Guru for the whole universe. Who turns to that hukamnama as their first port of call? Even if that question in your mind is at 6 o'clock in the evening that day, but that hukamnama is there for someone, isn't it? That's for us. It's sadde vaste hai. But we never turn to Maharaj first. We turn to our books. We turn to our other ways first, don't we? When Maharaj says, Yeh man naik na kahyo kara, Sikh sikhaye, rahyo apni si. And the key word there is apni si. Apni si means we go with our own way of thinking, don't we? We go with our own intellect first. We don't go to what Maharaj is going to say. We go to the other sources first, using our own intellect. Dormat te na tare. But what happens is that mind then falls into corrupt thoughts as a result. Because the nishana isn't Vaheguru, is it? The nishana, the aim isn't Vaheguru, it's something else first. When that last hukamnama and this Shabad Maharaj is referring to us to prioritize everything. Put Maharaj first before everything. If you start doing that regularly, every day before you get up, the first thing you see is Guru Sahib's teachings. Or you come to Gurukar and listen to the katha of the hukamnama, because every Gurukar does katha of the hukamnama in the morning. You come and listen to that before your work. You will find that Maharaj is talking to you directly, just as they are today. You will find that you will be already given instructions for the day to work out. The person that is given as an example in the katha in the morning will be the individual, the type of individual that you're going to meet later on that day or in a couple of days' time. Because Maharaj is antarjami. They want their Gursikhs to be already given the provisions. But Maharaj says, Maharaj, we're intoxicated by the wine of the illusion of Maya, of distraction. And we're gone mad as a result. Some people, obviously, sharab nahi chhadde. They don't give up wine and alcoholic drink. What does Maharaj say about alcohol? Maharaj says about alcohol, Dormat mad jo peevate, bikhli pat kamali. They say that people who drink alcohol, they suffer from true diseases, either straight away after it or sometime after it. And what the disease is, bikhli pat. Their honor is going to be brought into the drain. That's the first one. Bikhli pat. They will suffer from a fragile honor. You know how many people go through drink driving offenses? How many people in their lives, because they drink, they make distorted actions or decisions in their minds. And because of those distorted decisions, if you look in our lives, you know, wine piti, alcohol pita, and they've gone out their mind, they know that you're not in control of your actions, are they? Maharaj says to avoid it. And that's why it's in our rehat of Gursikhs, in the Khalsa rehat, ke sharab nahi pini. Ye to dur rehna. Durmat mad jo peevate. Bikhli pat kamali. So not only do you use your honor in society and your respect, you also lose your mindset. So honor bhi gaya and your state of thinking. Kamali means distorted thinking. So Maharaj says avoid it for that reason. Mad maya ke payo bavro. And here Maharaj says the same thing. We are stuck and infatuated by the taste of that alcohol, and it's a ras. And remember, the ras is only for a day or two, whatever it is. Duje din svere pata lagda phir. Sareer nu bhi pata lagda te baad ch mind nu bhi pata lagda to that individual what actually went to happen after having that extra lager, the extra bitter, or whatever it was, the extra Guinness. But Guru Sahib says that anand, and actually if you think about it, it's all for bliss, isn't it? You go for a momentary bliss, but actually the real bliss is achieved from reciting Gurbani. The individuals who get that everlasting bliss, they never come off it. Bliss don't uttarde nahi hage. They don't come off that bliss at all, that intoxication. And that's why it becomes an amal, it becomes an addiction. The bani becomes addiction, the naam becomes addiction. And then the day where you're not reciting bani, doing simran, it feels like a failure. Complete failure. That's why the Gursikhs are doing benti together, saying, Maharaj, and you know what? Sometimes, you know, if Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj was sitting here and said this same thing, ਆਪਾਂ ਝੱਟ ਉੱਠ ਜਾਣਾ ਸੀ, ਝੱਟ realize ਕਰਨਾ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਤਾਂ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਰਾਤੀ ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ. But because it's in a sarup form, we don't have that sharda and devotion now, that's Guru Gobind Singh instructing me and telling me to be avoiding it. Gursikhs will look at the ingredients of their food. The Amrita will look and see, it's got alcohol in, nahi chagna hega. Some Gursikhs don't have medicine drink because they feel it's alcoholic, nahi pina. It's about how you can improve your rehat, your discipline as a Gursikh, as a Sikh, so that you get closer to your Guru. That's what counts. That's what is more important than anything else in this world. So, Madamaya kepe obavro har jas neh uchre. We don't remember Vaheguru and praise Vaheguru in any way, shape or form, Maharaj. Apa aise kaman ch phase hoye hain.
Kar par panch jagat ko dahka apno udar par.
We fill our bellies. We fill our bellies by kar par panch jagat ko dahka. We trick the world falsely. We pretend to be something to others. We do it because we might have some sort of financial reward from it. With that financial reward, we fill our bellies. Maharaj says that's not what the path of Gursikhi is.
Swan pooch jo hoye na sudo, kahyo na kaan tara.
Swan pooch jo hoye na sudo. So, you know, like if you look at a dog, the tail of a dog is always bent, isn't it? Right? If you try to tie a stick to the tail and left it on for 10 years, the moment you take it off, the tail is still going to go like that. So Maharaj says, Swan pooch jo hoye na sudo, jidda kutte di pooch siddhi nahi hundi. So that's literally what Maharaj is saying. Just like the tail of a dog is not straightened out, in this way, kahyo na kaan tara. Similarly, you don't understand. You listen to things with your ears, but tusi samajhde nahi hage. You keep making the same mistakes. Why do you keep making the same mistakes? Because you're not reflected on what it's doing to you. The moment you start reflecting, that's when the changes come. So Maharaj is saying basically, with strong words there, okay, sort yourselves out basically. So these Gursikhs who came say, Maharaj, our minds are like this. Our mind is also that type that is like the pooch of a dog. It never straightens out. It will keep trying to put you off the path. It will keep trying to distract you in all ways.
ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਭਜ ਰਾਮ ਨਾਮ ਨਿਤ ਜਾਤੇ ਕਾਜ ਸਰੈ.
And what's the instruction Maharaj gives? To sort that out, Maharaj says, baith ke bhajan karo. Sit and remember Vaheguru. Do Simran. So if you add the two shabds together, the first instruction Maharaj said was sing the praises of Vaheguru. Make that a cornerstone of your life from today on. And then the second bit, when the mind is wavering, then just do Simran. Mool Mantar, Vaheguru Simran, do that. I'm just going to touch on one more thing before we finish off. We were talking about the history of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj as well. And we learned, remember that Tirmal had basically shot at Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, his Chacha Ji. And Shehe Masand had been sent to do the deed. When Makhan Shah found out, he brought 500 of his men and he uprooted the whole dera of Tirmal. They took the first sloop of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which Tirmal had in his possession, took it. They took every single possessionary item in the place. They battered the hell out of the sevaks, Tirmal and Shehe Masand as well. They tied their hands in cuffs, because obviously what they'd done to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. And when Tirmal was left in that state and Shehe Masand were left in that state, they brought all the stuff back to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. What does Maharaj say to him? Makhan Shah Lavana goes to Maharaj and shows everything. Even the Suroop of Guru Tegh, the Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj had been bought on the seas of Gursikh. And what Maharaj said to him? Maharaj said, why have you bought all this? Where did this come from? And at that time was actually this kind of time, but Rera's time. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj said, at this time you've done this, brought all this stuff, Rera's ta samaya. This is what Maharaj's words were. Look, placing bani, spirituality, before materialistic stuff. It's Maharaj's sama. Ita bani da samaya, tu aa kya lianda hai, what have you bought? At that time, Makhan Shah explained, Maharaj, I uprooted the dera of Tirmal for what they did to you. I couldn't take the fact that I've been hurt in this way. And they had no right to shoot you like this. You are the true Guru. At that time, Maharaj gave him instruction just to finish off on. Maharaj said, take everything you see, even that Saroop of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and return it to Tirmal. Look at the words they said. They said, when somebody is affected by Trishna, Trishna is that whole bundle of other things, the desire for other things. What happens, this is Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji explaining to Makhan Shah and to us today. When that person receives that materialistic desire, if they don't receive that desire, if they don't get that what they want, they develop an emotion, don't they? That emotion is frustration. It could be anger. And when that anger, frustration takes over, what happens? They do paap. They do a sin. Their sin was that, okay, they came here and did what they did. But when you unravel it back, what was it? It was a barrier for not receiving what they really wanted, their trishna. And if you go back as well, it was just a desire in its raw form, wasn't it? And they said to Makhan Shah, take everything back to them. I don't need it. We don't need this. Take everything back. Even them having Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is the source of their income. Look what Maharaj says. It's their source of income. Take that back as well. Take the Sroop of Maharaj back as well. And they said to him, because obviously Makhan Shah is feeling conflicted. He's just stood up for the ninth Guru. He has given his all, which every Gursikh should do. But then Maharaj said to him, to delete that Trishna in them. Look how Maharaj's thinking is. He's thinking of the Parapkar for every individual. And he said, to delete the desire of Trishna in them, you have to forgive them. Forgiveness was the quality that by Makhan Shah was given by Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj at that time. That was the instruction he was given. So whenever someone does something bad to you or someone you love, forgiveness is the highest action. And where there's forgiveness, Jeh khima, teh aap. Utthe Parameshwar aap hunda hai. So that we just to finish off on that, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj's teachings. Let's take every opportunity to learn the teachings and the correct pronunciation of Gurbani. after reciting Gurbani properly from a Gursikhs, learned Gursikhs, then also do Kirtan, and also remember Vaheguru by yourself in solitary confinement, whatever you want to call it, by yourself individually, remembering the Kaaba Vaheguru. Remember, it's not going to be solitary, is it? It's always going to be you and Vaheguru, always. Pullan Chokandi Khema Bakshni ji. Next week is Vaisakhi. We'll touch on the Gurpurab of Vaisakhi, and it's a big program that's going to be happening at the Gurdwara Sahib here. And then we'll carry on with the teachings of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj as we go along. Pullan Chokandi Khema Bakshni ji. Ask for forgiveness from Singh as well. Obviously very endearing to Guru Sahib in his own way, like his own path of Guru Sikhi, doing Seva of Maharaj and so forth. But we are all puppets of galtiyan and mistakes. And that's how we should remain. Because the moment that we think we're okay and we're clocking it, we're not doing nothing. We're not doing anything. Guru Sahib सारा कुछ करा रहे हैं. पुल्ला चौकानी खेमा बख्शन जी आखिरी पंक्ति पढ़ के समाप्ति है जी. पूछ जो होए ना सुदो कहो ना कान धरै कहो नानक भज राम नाम नित जाते काज सरै. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. I can also